everyone, and welcome to Sunday School. So, I hope that you were able to watch last week's lesson on Instagram because I forgot to upload it. I'll be honest, I forgot to upload it onto Instagram on Sunday morning. So, it came up on Thursday afternoon when I realized I did not upload it, but it was on Facebook on Sunday mornings. I know a lot of you aren't on there, but just so you know, it is on Instagram now. So, if you haven't seen it, go back and watch the last week's along with this week's too. And so we're continuing in our series called I Didn't Sign Up for This, talking about things in our lives that are changing, how we respond to change, how we are able to adapt and move forward from that. So today our Bible story comes from Mark 4, verses 1 through 9. And this is the parable of the sower. Talks about a sower of seeds. So that means like a farmer, a planter, someone who plants seeds. And this story is of Jesus telling a group of people this parable. So let me read it for us and then we'll talk about it a little bit. So it's Mark 4, verses 1 through 9. Again, he began to teach beside the sea. Such a very large crowd gathered around him that he got into a boat on the sea and sat there while the whole crowd was beside the sea on the land. So this was a big group of people listening to Jesus speak. He began to teach them many things in parables, and in his teaching he said to them, "Listen, a sower went out to sow, and as he sowed, some seed fell on the path, and the birds came and ate it up. Other seed fell on rocky ground, where it did not have much soil, and it sprang up quickly, since it had no depth of soil. And when the sun rose, it was scorched, since there were no roots. It withered away. Other seed fell among thorns, and the thorns grew up and choked it, and it yielded no grain. Other seed fell into good soil, and brought forth grain, growing up and increasing and yielding 30 and 60 and 100-fold. And he said, Let anyone with ears to hear listen." So when Jesus was talking to these people, he was talking about the seeds being them. So you can choose to be on the path where you quickly get eaten up. You can go on to rocky soil where you're not really doing too much. You're just kind of there and chilling, hanging out, and so a little bit of spirituality is being poured into you. And since there really just isn't any depth there, any need to continue, any need to grasp onto it, as soon as it's scorched, instantly sent a different direction. So I think let's compare those two. So if you're just on the path, you're just there, you're not engaging in anything, doing anything to grow in your faith. Because these are the seeds we're trying to plant, is growing in our faith. So if we are there, we're just on the path and we're not doing anything to pour into ourselves and to pour into our relationship with God, we can quickly be eaten up by other things that take our attention, other things that we pour ourselves into, because we're not taking the time to pour ourselves into our faith and in God. And then if it's on rocky ground, well, we might be doing a couple things, but maybe not as much as we should. We might pray maybe once a week. We might come to church however often we can or want to, that we are not putting a lot of our faith and our action into this whole Christianity thing, that we aren't being poured into and learning and trying to do things differently or in new ways, that even when we're trying to pour into ourselves just a little bit and give ourselves opportunities to grow with God, that those are so few and far between that we just don't have much there. The rocky ground, that we don't have many roots. We didn't create roots. We're not trying to create roots and grow in healthy ways. So the sun rose and scorched the plants. because there's nothing there for them to grasp onto. They can't get any water or nutrients from the soil. So then talking about the seed falling among the thorns. So the thorns kind of grow up and choke it out. So that's putting ourselves in situations that we don't need to be in. That's putting ourselves around people who deeply influence us in bad ways, that change us, change our trajectory as we are trying to go one way and those people are leading us in a different way. And they don't let us grow. They don't let us become who we need to be. That those circumstances and those people, who whatever it is, are choking our growth. That we are not able to truly become who God is asking us to be. And so then there's some seed that fell onto good soil. And being on good soil and feeding into that, having decent nutrients, having water and food, and being trained up and raised up, growing in those roots and knowing where we came from. But then knowing where we are headed. That we are children of God. We are born of God. That we are set in this world to truly try to grow in that. To know who God has called us to be. To know who we are supposed to be. And we are trying to become and grow and change and adapt to change and continue to grow. And this is a cycle that's never going to end. Your whole life is a cycle of change and choices and things that you can either attempt to control or you can allow God to control. But you also have a place in that, a choice to make. And so the choice is, are you going to let outside influences truly impact who you are and who you are in the eyes of God? How are you going to let those things change you? Are you going to still pour into yourself and your soul, in your relationship with God, by praying, by coming to church, by worshiping, listening to worship music if you can't come to church or sing at church? Like truly taking that time to read scripture and pray and be in devotion to God, talk to God. Are you taking the time to do those things? To pour into yourself and to truly know where God is leading you, listening to God, and knowing that change is going to happen in our lives. But that as long as we are set in good soil, creating that environment for ourselves, that we have chosen to pray, read scripture, be in community with other people, in service to other people, that we are attempting to do all of these things, that we are purposely putting ourselves in good soil. We are putting ourselves in a place that we can only grow from. Our foundation is set, our roots are set, and God is continuing to be with us. So God is always with us. Now it's not going to always seem that way. It's not going to always feel like God is there. We're going to have times that are hard. But as long as we have done the right things to truly give ourselves the foundation that we need as Christian people, that we will still know whether there are hard times or good times, that God is constantly there through it all. And that is part of our series. That is where we are really focusing on this series, is knowing that in the depths of change, when all else seems lost, when all hope seems lost, when nothing seems to be going right, that there is a constant in our lives, which is God. And that we have the power to help control that relationship by pouring into it, by giving God our time and our energy so that we can become closer to God and who God is calling us to be. So I encourage you to take the time to grow in your soil, to develop your soil, to fertilize your soil with whatever it needs to help you become who God is calling you to be. So today is August 30th. We are having a pool party tonight at the Brooks' house, so I hope that you all can come. And if you've not RSVP'd to me, please do that so I know how much food to get. And please just come. You can invite a friend. We're creating an environment here where we just want you to come. We are starting school on tomorrow, so tonight we want just everybody to be able to get away and unwind just a little bit, that we can become closer together in community and grow on together in this next school year. So please come. It's from 3 to 5:30. We'll have dinner together at the end. And if you haven't seen my email with the address, please look back at that, and all the details will be there for you. So I hope to see you tonight, and if I don't see you tonight, I hope to see you soon.